and like you can't unleash it. Like
Yeah. Do you want to tell me a little bit about when you first started noticing all of this stress on your sh shoulders?
um honestly, I think like I went like with going to school currently and like managing a full-time job and like my relationships, my family, my dad's diagnosis, everything in between. I went straight from like an undergrad to doing a master's in a year, and I think it's just like a lot. And I think because my summertime, like I graduated and then my summer was taken away by classes. And then I went straight to fall with 6 classes. And it's just been like insane trying to manage a full-time job and then do stuff for my dad and, still go out with my partner and spend time with him. And it's just been a lot. And I feel like that's when it just started like sitting here and it was just so hard to like understand it for a while until I was like, maybe I am like overwhelmed or stressed, but it's just a weighs down on me like all day.
Yeah, when you really start to experience it, like the stress and the feeling on your shoulders, could you maybe use a character or a description to kind of tell me a little bit more about, where you feel the stress on your shoulders, where you feel um maybe like the overwhelmed feeling?
Yeah, I don't know. It almost feels like a big giant just like, just sat on my back and it's just like hanging out with me all day. Um, I think it just I don't know. I feel like it sometimes loosens up when I feel like I have a weekend where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna pause everything because, I try to be ahead all the time so that I can give myself that grace. And then I feel it like, feel a little lighter. But then I think about like having all this stuff sitting on Zoom classes like 3 times a week. And, I used to like go to the gym so regularly and like walk and like do things for myself and track on an Apple Watch. Like that was like my motivation. And now it's like I can't even do that because it's like now my weekend's here. I don't want to like work out. I want to like hang out with my friends or do something fun or see my partner. So it's like a balance of it. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it'll go away and then it like comes back when I start thinking of like everything that's coming up.
Yeah. Um, does anybody in your life like kind of notice when that giant is standing on your back? And is there anything that maybe they have been able to share to you about, what they notice within you when that giant shows up?
Yeah, I think ex especially my partner, he's just
Mhm.
really good at picking out like my emotions, like my face says it all type of thing. So he'll be like, you don't look like yourself today. What's up? Or my supervisor, when I get supervised weekly, he's really good at I've kind of grew my college experience with him. I had him for like my undergrad and I kept him up. And he's just an amazing individual. And like I feel like when I sit with with that hour with him, I feel like lessened up because like, as a person, like you don't see your strengths all the time because you're just in this fog of like, you do all these things and like it just feels normal. Like I feel like I'm numb to like having so much pressure. And my boyfriend's like, well, like, should you step back a little bit? Like, let's do this. Like, you'll get your stuff done. Or he'll like motivate me a lot, which helps a lot. Or he'll like give me like my supervisor will say things about myself that I don't recognize or I've kind of lost touch with when we're doing our supervision. And it just kind of like, it loosens up a little bit because like I'm doing all these things, but like I am like still like it's okay, like I'll figure it out.
You shared that your partner and like your supervisor can really help you identify strengths within yourself. Um, can you identify some strengths within yourself and tell me a little bit about maybe if there's like the giant also helps maybe build some of those strengths within you.
Yeah, I think like it definitely built skills that's like the work ethic. Like no matter what, it still happens. It's still getting submitted, it's still getting done. The clients are at work are still getting approved. I'm still doing my meetings weekly. I'm still managing, like taking my dad to where he needs to go and doing things for him. And, I have younger siblings. So, like, when I have to pitch in as like a second mom, as a sister, an older sister, I do that. Um, I think just like, the pressure, I feel like I can take on so many things because of this now. And I think when this giant's like arriving, I'm like, okay, like I hear you, I feel you coming, but at the same time, I'm like mentally taking note that like it's because of this and it could be because of this. And then I try to like separate things and like, maybe if I get an assignment done a week before, then I can have a weekend to myself and do whatever I'm doing for like my own self.
Mhm. You said sometimes you hear the giant and sometimes you don't. Could you share a little bit about like maybe what you hear from the giant and like maybe times where like you don't hear the giant at all?
Yeah, like when I'm just like in that deep hole, like this past week I've been sick. Like I've had such a terrible cold and like I couldn't manage. So I'm trying to like remember times where I can pull in a teacher and be like, "Hey, can you help me out a little bit and give me like a grace day or something?" Or um and I just feel it because since I've been sick, I feel him sitting on to me because like, all right, like I haven't been so on point like I usually am. And I can't help that I'm sick 'cause I have no energy and all I want to do is like not do anything. And my voice has been different for the past week and everything. So like in this moment, it's one of my like I can feel the weakness in within myself because of that. But then when he's not around, it's when I'm ahead and I'm like getting stuff done. And it's not always like taking like time for myself and going to the gym because honestly, I'm not motivated after like such a long week to do anything like that. But I have like a little treadmill that I try to walk on, or, maybe I incorporate activities that I am active and I am going on. And then if I'm not putting on my Apple Watch, I know that I'm in like a bad state of mind because I don't even care to look at it. I know there's a lot going on. So it's like a variation, but I'm definitely feeling it in this current moment.
Yeah. You said that, sometimes you feel like you have to be on point. Is there maybe like a situation or maybe a time that you can reflect on that you were taught that you needed to be so on point?
Absolutely. I've had to do that since I was like really young. I like grew up fast. I was put out like I in the situations growing up. I lived with my mom for a period of time and I'm not like being a foreign like individual and growing up in an aspect like that makes you grow up faster because, you didn't have almost anything, but your life was okay. But you learned at a young age because I saw my mom work hard and, no matter what, she made me feel like I could have everything. And then like, moving and being part of here now, it's like, you know, I had to pick up my parents being like foreign and not understand English is not first language for me or them, but I go to school and I've learned and I've adapted through it. But for them, I have to read stuff. I have to explain things. I have to set them up. I have to take care of my dad with his diagnosis. I like have to do these things. So it's not like when does it ever go away? It just doesn't. You just learn to like know that it's part of you and you're just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah. Do you feel like maybe your parents also experience some sort of the giant? And if they do, or if you could see that they do, is there really anything that you could you would recommend saying to them to help them maybe make the giant feel a little less small, a little bit more manageable?
Yeah, I absolutely do think that